Welcome to another episode of Guess the Test by Elevar, where you learn the data behind a conversion optimization experiment, the variance competing, and of course, the winning version and learning lessons. If you aren't familiar with Elevar, we help Shopify brands clean up their tracking and ensure 95% of conversions are delivered to their most critical marketing channels like Facebook and Google Analytics. So let's get into today's episode and guess the test. All right, we're here for another episode of Guess the Test. Kirby, what are we testing and guessing today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be looking at a product page test. The goal here was to improve the accessibility of the size guide on the product page. So in this case, we were looking at add to cart rate to see, essentially that's the next conversion metric on the product page. So looking at add to cart rate as well as overall conversion rate. So this client was an apparel company. So the size guide, is a really important element on the product page. And although, for users who are interacting with the size guide, that does, indicate pretty high intent, of course. We did see roughly 70% higher conversion rate for those who interacted with the size guide compared to those who didn't. So,
cool.
Yeah.
How many variants?
Yeah, so we had two variants in this case. We wanted to have essentially one variant that made it slightly more accessible, and then the second variant really kind of puts it in the user's face. So wanted to test and see if one step or two steps would be the better option there.
Yeah. All right. So, show me the variants.
Yeah, so here we have the control. So you can see the size guide is inside of the size and fit accordion. And it requires a user to click that link there, and it'll open a modal that shows the size guide. And then variant number one, we have it. We've taken away that additional step of a user clicking, and we've just embedded it directly inside of that size and fit accordion. And then variant number two is we've placed a button below the product image gallery where a user can activate it. So, really accessible and apparent on the product page.
Very nice. Yeah. I like the creativity of this one.
Yeah.
Is it time for me to guess the test?
It is. Yep. Let's hear what you got.
I didn't plan that, by the way, but that came off pretty smooth.
Yeah.
All right. So users who click the size guide based on the event data tracked convert 70% higher than those who don't view, they view the product page, but they don't click the size guide.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead. Size guides are critical, especially with no one, visiting stores as much. Mm-hmm. I am going to go with the more obvious one in the user's face, where the button under the product gallery, variant number two, and I'm going to say pretty high significance with a high improvement. So let's say a 5% increase in the add to cart rate and 95 plus stat sig.
All right. Well, you were close. So the variant did win, but it was the other variant. So
okay.
Yeah, so we found for the variant with the button underneath the product image gallery, the results were actually really flat compared to the control.
Okay.
So both add to cart and conversion rate were essentially the same as the control. However, for variant number one, with the size guide just embedded inside of the accordion, we saw a 2.4% increase in add to cart rate with a relatively low stat sig at 61%. However, we did see a pretty significant increase in overall conversion rate at 3.9% with a 95% stat sig.
I should have asked for the interaction rate with the accordion.
Yeah. Yeah,
because that would have that might have been a telltale sign of the where users are going, especially on mobile. I'm assuming a lot of people are expanding that accordion to view more details. All right, What are your takeaways on this one?
Yeah, so sizing, obviously no surprise, seems like a major concern for visitors. So in this case, kind of discuss with the client, would it make sense to potentially test out like a more sophisticated, whether it be virtual fitting or, like call to have a consultation with like a fit expert or just having, some of these quote unquote AI powered sizing and fit guides that would just kind of increase the confidence for users and make sure that they're getting the right size, which we've seen sizing, like I said, is a primary concern for visitors. So.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, that's an L. I don't know what my record is, but that's an L. All right. Is that it? Anything else for this one?
That's all we got. Yep.
All right. See you next time.
All right. We'll see you.